how to hold my chin.
Alright. So, what history are you going to be talking about today?
Oh, is it filming?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kagan. And today I'm going to be talking about the history of human evolution.
Alright.
Okay.
Where do we start?
Okay, so I'm going to edit in the specific, years and times later. But for now, so 65 million years ago, there was the dinosaurs. And then there was, this meteor that came, and it fucked up Mexico. But not only Mexico, it fucked up the whole planet. And so all of the dinosaurs, so the big ones, they got fucked up. And they started dying over time. And during this time, it wasn't like the dinosaurs died and all of life was dead. Trust me, there was other life. And so there was rats and shit. And the rats were like, holy shit, the big dinos are gone. And now the trees are a big free-for-all. So the rats went into the trees and started learning how to be tree creatures. And then that's how they turned into primates. I think maybe 5 million years ago, 4 million years ago, some of the primates, monkey types, started getting out of the trees because they were we're really good at tree stuff, let's try some ground stuff. So they got out of the trees onto the ground and they started to do walking on just their feet and not their hands. And so their spines, they did a new one because normally their spines did a C shape and now their spines did a S shape. And it was a new fun thing. And so they were chilling on the ground and they were then they started learning how to use fire. They would see that a fire happened because of maybe a lightning strike or some shit, and they would use it or something, and it would cook their food, and it made their brains better. And then sometimes they would learn how to do fire all by themselves, and they would do a fire, and they would cook their food, and they would see at night and hurt the prey or whatever so that they could eat it. And so they were getting smarter and smarter, and they were walking better because of their S curved spines. And then they were burying their dead and doing ritual shit and putting flowers on graves and really cute human shit that we would think of today. But they weren't Homo sapiens because there was a whole bunch of different ones. There was Ardipithecus ramidus and Australopithecus some shit, and then there was Homo erectus, which is the funny one because it sounds like a gay boner. Yeah. And then there's Homo ergaster, and there's Homo neanderthalensis, and that's my favorite because that's Neanderthals. And now you've probably heard of the term Neanderthal, but that's some bullshit because actually it's pronounced Neanderthal. And when people say Neanderthal, they're usually talking about a racist caricature of a black person, because they would straight up be well, black people are less evolved humans, and that's some bullshit, obviously. So if you're trying to talk about the old-timey human ancestors, you should say Neanderthal, but it does have H in it, just so you know. So something that people don't really know is that the humans, the Homo sapiens, and the Neanderthals, the Homo neanderthalensis, lived together, and they were friends or whatever, and they were we're a little different, and our skulls are kind of different, and we talk a little different, but we can be friends. And some of them were hey, we can fuck, and they did that. And eventually, since there was more humans than there was Neanderthals, eventually it was just humans. It's not the humans killed the Neanderthals, which you'll probably hear about. That's some bullshit. The humans did not kill off the Neanderthals in a fighting way. They just eventually there was more humans than Neanderthals, and that's just how it worked. But if you have ancestry from Europe or parts of Asia, then you probably have some Neanderthal DNA. Like, I'm from, like, Ireland or whatever, technically, so, and that's in Europe, so I have, like, probably, like, 1 or 2% Neanderthal DNA. Pretty cool, fun fact. But the Neanderthals and the humans, they, like, existed at the same time, but then eventually it was just Homo sapiens. And what's bullshit is that it's called the Homo sapiens sapiens. Is this still filming?
Mm-hmm.
It's called the Homo sapiens sapiens, which is, like, a ridiculous name because the genus is Homo and the species is sapiens sapiens. And it's not even a plural, it's just got an S at the end. Can you see me?
Mm-hmm.
That's good. It's not like one Homo sapien, two Homo sapiens. It's like one Homo sapien sapiens. What the fuck? Cause that's taxonomy. But eventually it was just the Homo sapiens, and I think around, 200,000 years ago, they started getting their brains smarter. So, like, cause of all of the, like, cooked meat that they were eating. So basically, if you took a Homo sapiens, and these are called, anatomically modern humans, because nothing about the body was different. If you took one and you put them in today, in the 2010s, they could maybe figure your shit out. But we don't really know, because we haven't, like, done that, obviously. And then, like, 15,000 to, like, 10,000 years ago, the weather was really good in, like, Africa. And they were like, let's move around. And so they went from Africa, they went to, like, Europe, and they went to, like, Asia, and they went to all the different places, and they just, like, migrated and shit. They even went to, like, the Americas, because there used to be a big ice bridge on the Alaska tail. You know how Alaska has, like, a tail? They went on that. And there's humans, and so they all went into their different places and got their different things. And this is the, what's it called when the weather, the Younger Dryas is when the weather started getting good enough that the humans were like, let's use the plants. Because before they were hunter-gatherers, which means that they would hunt for their food and eat it, and they would gather, like, plants and shit and eat that. But now they had time to, like, gather shit and, like, keep it in place and then work on other shit. So, like, maybe one day a week they would, like, gather their plants and put them in, like, a pot, and then the rest of the week they would, like, grind some grain, maybe. So what's crazy is that if you look at skeletons from, like, 10,000 years ago, you'll find that their bones have arthritis because a lot of them were sitting down and grinding grain all day on, like, not a mortar and pestle, but, you know, like that big stone thing and you grind on it? Yeah, they had that, and they were doing that all day with the grain. And their teeth started getting cavities because instead of just eating meat all day, they were eating a lot of grain and a lot of sugar. So they kept getting cavities and, like, weird buildup on their teeth. So, like, even just looking at, like, a skeleton, we can, like, tell, like, what shit was going on. And that was, like, 10,000 years ago. And then they started being like, well, if we can do this stuff, if we can stay in one place, why don't we stay in this place and start building it up from here instead of moving from place to place? Because, like, we know that if we stay here, we'll have enough to, like, stay alive. Because before they didn't know if they'd have enough to stay alive. So they'd stay in one place. And then, like, there was less predators because they were, like, better at keeping them away because they had, like, good stone tools. Before they used to have, Oldowan tools, which was, like, some shitty stones that they would hit stuff with. And then they got, Acheulean tools, and that was, good stones that they would hit stuff with. Like arrowheads or whatever. You guys know about mammoths. And then, so they started making, like, bands and tribes, which is just when lots of people lived in the same place, and they would build, like, a permanent house. And then there would be somebody who was like, well, I'm in charge of all this stuff, so I'm better. And that's how dichotomies and hierarchies started. And that's how society and also all of the problems ever, that's how all of them started. is from agriculture is because we got to stay in one place and start doing plants better. And did you know that corn used to be shit? Corn used to be a little shitty plant called teosinte. But when the humans started like eating it more and like pulling it out of the ground more and planting it more, the plant was like, oh, we should do a better one. And so they made a better one, and eventually that's how they made corn. And they did that with all sorts of plants, like wheat and shit. And they did that with animals, and so there's like domesticated animals, because it used to just be like some wild fucking horses, and they were like, now hang on, horse, I want you to do a plow. And they taught the horse to do a plow activity, and eventually, generations later, the horses were a plow animal. Beasts of burden, as they may call it. And so agriculture started around maybe 10,000 years ago, maybe 12,000 years ago, in like Africa and Asia and the Middle East, and like later in like Europe and the Americas. And like basically the rest is history, like literally, because after agriculture it's called history instead of prehistory. I used to think that agriculture was like some bullshit that we did, that we caused like classes to exist, but actually it's like not even our fault, because basically it's just that the weather was so good that it was like, what else are we gonna do other than like make good plants? So they made good plants, and they made like houses and shit, and then people could have different jobs instead of just hunting and gathering. They could also be a grain grinder or a clothes stitcher or a house builder or something, or like and then they got like writing and shit, like cuneiform, but I don't remember when that was. And now there's like iPhones, and that's how it came to be. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.